Hello, and sorry about that. My mic lost connection, but we are heading on to the Tribal Council area. Players will be filing in behind me shortly for the first official Tribal Council of the merge. All right, filing into Tribal Council. Let's go ahead and take in the players as they approach the Tribal Council area. And in comes Ale, Alicia, Zoe, Meg M, Kevin R, Drew, Molly, Dylan, Dan, Ty, Louie, and Cam, all part of the merged Pemaquid tribe now.
I would be a fan of that. I'm in the back.
Making some last minute adjustments to the seating arrangements in Tribal Council before we get underway.
You're not feeling okay-ish. Dehydrated, I think.
All right. Welcome back to your first official merged Tribal Council. Let's start with the challenge. I'll start with you. Oh, first things first. Let me bring in our jury. Knew I was going to miss that the first time.
Players looking on and giving clapping as our first jury member frolics across the field here and makes her way into Tribal Council.
Voted out at our last Tribal Council. Can take a seat right there on the bench. All right. What do you have there?
We're fanning ourselves with my votes.
Okay. All right. Let's get started with the challenge. We're going to start with you, Louie. Maybe the most aggressive, from my perspective, maybe in the challenge. You were the first one to start off gathering the threes and really taking big shots at people. Do you feel like that worries you now that you don't have the necklace around your neck, that people are taking that in any particular way?
I do think people are taking it in a particular way, but I don't think it holds any water. It's really the only challenge so far that I've succeeded in to a degree. I sat out of 2, so like if all of a sudden I'm the challenge threat here, I think the heat is getting to us.
Okay, I mean that's fair. I mean I'm not necessarily putting this as a challenge threat. But I mean, for instance, Meg, I mean you landed 6 in a row, but you spread them out across many different names. I mean potentially angering people that have votes right now. I mean, what kind of strategy was going through your head in a social challenge like that?
I did that classic mistake where instead I was like really excited that I could do it. And so then I was like, I just want to do it. And then I was like, oh, I'll just like, I mean, I knew it was dumb. I knew it was dumb. If I were smart, I would have just focused on a couple of people and had only those 2 people. But I trusted that I'd be able to explain to them later, like, oh, I was just going for the 10s or, you know, just playing the game, honestly. So.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's all well and good to say you're just going after the 10s or anything like that. But at a certain point, people were eliminated early. Zoe, I don't remember exactly when you went out, but it was in the first half of them. I mean, do you read into that and kind of right after we just talked about you being picked 13th, right? I mean, how much do you read into the order of these things? Is that a part of these discussions?
I think, well, it wasn't always like that. Like I was at a higher number pretty early and I wasn't like the first one out. So, I think it was just like the way the cookie crumbled and, like I did have higher numbers and then once the host so kindly said like, oh, Zoe has 4, then of course everyone's gonna go after it. So I don't think it's personal.
Okay, interesting. And then the opposite strategy of Meg was Cam, who I think spent the entire challenge trying to hit Ty's bucket. How does that? I mean, what is the kind of the thinking behind that? Is that something that you kind of knew ahead of time that was going to be your plan? Do you feel like Ty's taking that personally heading into this vote?
Hopefully not too personally. I was thinking I was gonna go right to left, and then once someone like is visibly targeting me, I'm gonna go for them. So I went right to left, and then Molly threw a ball in mine, and I was like, okay. So that's where I'm at.
So we're all pretending that nothing meant anything in that challenge.
It's all water under the bridge.
Okay. Last question about the challenge, Dan. So the end of the challenge was down to 3 rookies, you, yourself, Drew, and Dylan. You can kind of take that 2 ways, right? It's a social-based challenge. Maybe there's a little bit of the fact that you are all well-liked, but it also could be seen as none of you were very threatening. I mean, how are you personally interpreting the order of operations there?
Well, you misrepresented that a little bit because you left Louis out. Louis was right there at the end with us too.
True.
It wasn't all rookies.
I'm rookie.
So there is that. I don't really know. Like, I got targeted very early. I think I was the first one hit. So like, I don't think that had anything to do with it. My strategy was just go after people who went after me, and that was pretty much the extent of it. And it just so happened that a bunch of veterans were going after me. So that's what it was. I also think I took out Drew and Molly. So
Okay.
And Dylan took me out. So I mean, it goes around.
All right, fair enough. Ty, we spoke a few minutes ago. You said, I don't think this is going to be unanimous. We get to the votes, completely unanimous. So is that a signal that maybe you were more out of the loop at the last conversation than you felt you were, or you blowing a little smoke at me?
You know, I guess I honestly was surprised. Honestly, with this many people, someone could just throw a random vote in there, or didn't get the memo at the last minute. So I was surprised that someone wasn't let out. Someone else said that too. Like that we were a little surprised that it was still unanimous. I was expecting the vote to be Katie, obviously. But yeah, it was. You never know in this game. So I really struggled to say. Yes, I feel like it's definitely going to be this because there's just so many question marks and so many different agendas that everyone has.
Yeah. Well, what are you feeling more heading into this vote? Do you feel like the group was similarly aligned around a name or two, or do you feel like this one got a little bit more chaotic?
I feel like it's similar to the last vote. I, again, don't know if it's going to be unanimous or anything, but I feel like there's a general consensus among the group. Yes.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to throw this to you, Alicia. I mean, the unfortunate thing about a unanimous vote is you don't really learn a lot. I mean, every single person is involved in it. One of those people is about to be the next person voted out. And you in particular haven't had as many votes to bond with these people and build that other trust. So how do you approach kind of figuring out where you fall in the hierarchy of this big group?
That's such a good question. And I honestly was so nervous because I did hear my name. And this challenge proved that I'm not invincible. Like, I was so cheeks at that challenge. Couldn't land a single ball. But I know I'm a number, and I know it's like kumbaya and we're figuring each other out right now. But I know that there's moves wanting to be made, and a number is really valuable. So I'm just trying to jump on someone's endgame who wants me and can use me when they need it.
Yeah, I mean, kind of echoing some of the things Katie mentioned before the end of last tribal, Molly, I mean, there's a little bit of truth to what Katie said. At the end of the day, you need people to be on your side. A vote is a vote. A number is a number. I mean, how much are you factoring in some of the people who might be seen on the bottom of, hey, actually, I kind of want to take them in and keep them in the game because they could be a number for me?
Right. I think we all are always thinking about that, and that is the dynamic that makes Survivor the game that it does, right? And that's the mystery of it. So right now, I don't know. I think we'll see how that kind of pans out, but yeah, I mean, that's definitely appealing.
Okay. For you, Kevin, there's so many different ways you can break up this group. I mean, we had the first night groupings of the vets and the rookies. We had the 4 different tribes, the 3 different tribe swaps, people coming back from no man's land. How do you even try to begin making sense of these pairs? Or is it just the slate was almost clean this morning and we're starting fresh?
Yeah, I was just having a conversation with somebody. I was like, you can't make sense of this. It's all completely blurred at this point. Like, you might be able to parse out a duo here or there, and then you get a piece of information and you're like, well, shit, they don't even like each other. Like, or they're going to target each other later. So I think you really got to roll with it round by round and see how
everybody has certain thoughts about certain people, and it's whether they come out this round or they come out the next round. And I think that's what you're trying to navigate more than where people were in the past.
Okay. Every vote will give you a little bit more of that information. Unless anyone else has anything to say.
I'm wearing the necklace, and you're not even going to ask me a flipping question. What the hell?
It's not all about you.
Oh,
Dylan, how did you approach this round differently? Having that necklace? I mean, you've been immune both times.
No.
Do you feel like you're using that power in any way?
No.
Okay. Well said. Well, Dylan, I have a follow-up question to that. I mean, there's a little bit of a balance between making sure you have some autonomy in this game and are pushing forward the votes without making yourself seem a threat. You've had immunity both times. I mean, kind of how are you balancing making sure that people are going to respect your game at the end, but not see you too much as a threat now?
Oh, well, we were pretty all bad at that last challenge. Or like there was like a large learning curve. And so like, this challenge was, I was the first person to have it at 1. And then I feel like what kind of unintentionally worked out in my favor was that Ty and I started just going at each other. Mm-hmm. And so I think it just made everyone feel like, well, they're going to knock each other out. And then everybody else wound up in their own patterns by that. But then there was just like a window for me to win. As opposed to it, like, I would not consider, I was pretty decent at balancing the ball, but I could not get it into a fucking cup for the life of me until like the very end. But yeah, I guess that's what I have to say about that.
Okay. Do you feel like you've said enough?
Yeah, no, I do. I was just sort of like, you know.
No, I know. There's a lot of you out here.
Last tribal, I was like, okay, keep going.
Anyone else have anything to say before we get to the vote? No? All right, we'll start with the right side. We'll start with you, Dan.
All right, and away the players go to the voting booth to cast their votes silently. And away we go as well to not be silent. This is our time to chat with each other, get you all caught up on everything going on this round, and kind of dissect what we've all just heard. I see the questions are already coming in. We love to see them. Simo, we will chat about that momentarily as soon as we're out of earshot of the players. Excellent question. Simo wondering, how much did this challenge play into making people upset or target other people? So I will have the answer for you once we get up in the shade. All right, just opening up my little notebook here. Gonna find some tree cover and flip myself around so that we can settle in and have a little discussion. All right, here we are. Hi. Hello, friends. All right, so several people noticed a lot of things about this challenge. First, several players noticed that the rookies never targeted each other until they absolutely had to at the end, with Dylan and Dan being the last two. So Alicia in particular made note of the fact that, you know, he was really wanting to like ditch the vets and go with the rookies last round, and then realized, hey, the rookies might be like super, super tight, and I really want to be in a majority, and maybe that's it. But like, just noting that. I think a lot of the other vets noticed that as well, because the first 5 players removed from that challenge and eliminated were all vets, and many of them were taken out by Dan. So now Dan is one of the players that people are looking to potentially vote out. Dan, let's see, where do I want to start with this? Louis in particular was saying, well, we can kill like 85 birds with one stone if we vote Dan out, seeming like maybe he is a secret challenge threat, hasn't really like raised his threat level in challenges till now. Louis wondering if maybe he was holding back some of his talents before, because you'll remember day 1 and day 2, he was almost eliminated because his fellow tribe members were like, he's saying he's not good at anything, so, you know, how will he contribute to our tribe, but now obviously nearly winning that challenge with the most kills under his belt, people are feeling like perhaps that was a lie. They're also nervous that he had the day one advantage, which we saw Katie play on day two as an idol. And so everyone is worried that he might have that advantage. And he's also not giving any, and so we know, though, that he does not have that advantage. Kevin R. has that advantage. Kevin R., as far as I know, has not revealed that to anyone. Very wise of him, because no one seems to think that he has it. And Kevin, from the last round, we found out that he was kind of introduced to this Gay Latinos alliance of Kevin, Louie, Ale, and Dylan. And so he's in it, but he's wondering, okay, but is this real or is this not real? And I do believe that Ale, and so he feels like he's with Ale and Louie, not so much mentioning Dylan, but yeah, Kevin R. also is viewing Molly as a huge under the radar threat. Doesn't want to throw the first stone at Molly. That was a similar mentality he's had this whole game so far. Not wanting to be the first rookie to turn against rookies, not wanting to be the first person that throws Molly out as an option because she hasn't, in this more like later game phase, been targeted. She was discussed a little earlier on in this game, but really not since. Speaking of Molly, she is staying strong with Dylan and in her pair, as well as that group of four of swapped quaddie with Meg, M, and Ale. Molly kind of eyeing either Alicia or Louie potentially for this vote. She has expressed that she's scared that Alicia might have some sort of advantage from being earning her way back in via the No Man's Land challenge. And we know that she did not get anything for coming into the game from No Man's Land, but she did find something at the Applebee's Bistro Reward Challenge. Reminder, that advantage is surveillance, which means that at any point before the voting begins, she can let a player know, hey, I will be escorting you to the voting booth and looking over your shoulder and watching who you are voting for. Obviously, we did not hear her stand up and state she's using that, so she will not be using this for this tribal. Yeah, let's see. Okay, sorry. So those are Molly's thoughts. Moving over to the other piece of that quad is Meg, M, and Ale. They have also formed a group with Zoe and Cam. Y'all, this is going to get really confusing because everyone's all over the place, by the way. With Zoe and Cam, and Ale is now in the middle of quite a few groups. He has quite a few squiggles going out of his name from everywhere. And he kind of already knows who he wants his final 8 players to be. And he knows he wants to avoid a situation where there end up being 5 rookies and 5 vets still in the game at the final 10. So he's looking to the future a little bit and trying to gauge who he wants to take out. Zoe is in that group and is another target being pitched by Dan, who knows that his name is being pitched. He's saying that Dan pitching Zoe as the easy vote, pitched it to Ty and Alicia when they 3 of them were having a conversation. And Alicia went, okay, but why should we do easy? So Alicia's here to play. Alicia's wanting to get some stuff done. And speaking of Ty, Ty is still nervous that Alicia views him poorly because he is the one that told Katie to play her fundraising advantage day 1 as an idol. However, he was shocked that Alicia is the one that Katie targeted. He thought for sure that Bennett would be eliminated. And now he's kind of regretting telling Katie to do that because he's worried that it'll affect his relationship with Alicia and Louie. Alicia, however, has said that they have a clean slate. She's starting fresh, and they've talked it out. Let's see. Who have we not talked about yet? Oh, another. Let's see. All right. So meanwhile, tabling the vets for a minute, let's pop back over to the rookies. Drew is also very well insulated in this game, along with maybe on the rookie side versus maybe Ale, who's super insulated on the vet side. Drew is trying to decide, okay, do I want to go with my original rookies? Do I want to stick with the original rookies and maybe bring in Louie and Ty, who she was super close with? Or does she want to, stick with a 4 group? Where is this? She's in a lot of stuff. Oh, or does she want to stick with Meg, M, Ale, Zoe, and Cam, a 4 group that I talked about earlier? And then out of nowhere, I'm told that like Drew also kind of has a sense that they're together. It turns out she is right about that. And she's like, well, do I want to go with them? Because Zoe and Drew bonded on their swap tribe with the boys. So Drew is now worried she's in too good of a spot with all of her, kind of alliance groupings, and she's a little worried about that, but so far setting herself up into a pretty good position. Let me see. What else? There's like so many different potential targets. Oh, Alicia, again, being another target. People are worried about her advantage and worried about her challenge threat level. Like, we're just kind of all over the place. Let me see. Oh, we haven't talked about Cam in great detail, aside from the fact that he's in that group of Meg, M, Ale, Zoe, and Cam. Cam really likes Alicia, wants to work with Alicia as well. And so, yeah, Cam floating kind of last round, trying to figure out who he wants to be with moving forward. Seems like he might have settled in on Alicia. And yeah, let's see. Any questions, y'all, while I'm sitting here? Oh, we wanted to know what the advantage was. So going back to Kevin R's fundraising advantage that I think is currently secret. So it changes every single day. The longer you make it in the game, potentially either less powerful or more useful than it is. I'm not really sure. But day 2, when Katie used it, it was an idol. Day 3 yesterday, Kevin R could have used it to initiate a tribe swap where he would swap with another player on a different tribe and they would take each other's spots. He was planning on doing that if the first vote on his tribe didn't go his way, but it did, and so he elected not to use it. Now, here on day 4, it has turned into an extra vote. So he can cast an extra vote if he feels that he wants to get a plan going and maybe not sure he has the numbers. If he does not use it today and is still in the game tomorrow in day 5, it will turn into a challenge advantage. So if he can make it to the final day, perhaps that might get him one step closer to winning a challenge and making it that much farther in the game. So we will see. So far, he has not used it, and I don't think has told anyone about it. Maya wanting to know if anyone found the idol at the original rookie camp. So we hid idols in each camp to start this game, one at the rookies, one at the vets, and the rookies never found it. As far as we know, it is still there, hidden in a tree, I think. So somewhere, but I don't think they ever found it. So it's just like out there, but no one ever found it. So. Oh, and Alicia found it for the vets, and she's planning on potentially trying to plant it as a fake idol, which is fun. So Alicia has a lot of Alicia has a lot of, tricks up her sleeve if she can survive this vote. So we'll see. All right, we are heading back into the challenge area. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for following along. I'm sure y'all are just as excited as I am to see who is going to be voted out as the second member of our jury. So let's head on back into the tribal council area where we will not have to wait much longer. Approaching the tribal council area now. Players can just sit in silence and wait for the vote, which is approaching with Cam.
Okay. If anybody has a hidden immunity idol and would like to play one, now would be the time to do so. Okay, I'll get to the votes. First vote, Dan. Second vote, Zoe. Third vote, Dan. Fourth vote, tie. Fifth vote, tie. That's 2 votes tie, 2 votes Dan. Sixth vote, Dan, that's 3. Next vote, Dan, that's 4. Dan, that's 5. The next member of our jury, Dan, that's 6. That's enough. They're color coded if you really want to find yours.
I won't do that to you, Ty.
Dan?
Yeah.
The tribe has spoken.
All right. Thanks.
All right. And with that, we will follow Dan out of the tribal council area, still on the live stream. Dan, we're just going to head over for this tree line. And once everyone else is safely away, this will be your time to just share any thoughts you have with our fabulous viewers. So we'll just like head on up, maybe past this tree that I can't identify because I'm not an outdoorsy girl, but you know.
This birch tree right here?
I was going to guess birch and then I second guessed because it looked too gray. Oh, man. All right, you can just head on into this little clearing.
Okay.
And the floor is yours. Get comfy, get settled, gather yourself, and then this will be your time. Anything you want to say.
This is live right now?
Yeah, we're live.
Okay. I mean, I knew that was coming, so, you know, it was just a matter of going through the pomp and circumstance of it. I was happy with how I played the game. I was happy with, honestly, with where I finished. I made the merge. I made the jury. I thought I was going to get knocked out the first vote that I participated in. So the fact that I made it, I think this was my 4th tribal council. Yeah, I felt 4th or 5th. I don't know. I made it through a few and without immunity. So I felt okay about how it ended up.
Amazing.
That's all I got.
I love it. Well, Dan, you made it very deep into this game, making it all the way halfway through day 4. That is no joke. Tons to be proud of about yourself out here. I would love to know maybe something you're the most proud of about yourself.
I like really cooked in that game. I wish I had won. But I knocked 5 people out, which was pretty cool. I really didn't think I would ever do good in any of the challenges, and I did really well in that one. I also felt like when we were doing like tribe challenges that I performed a lot better than I had expected to. So yeah, I felt really good about all of that, and yeah, I guess that was it.
That's awesome. And Dan, as a rookie, it was your first time playing one of these games. A lot of players report learning something about themselves that they might not have realized. Is there anything you learned about yourself in your time out here?
Yeah, apparently I can sleep on the ground and go days without food, which are not things I have ever done. So yeah.
Wow, amazing. I learned you were a little more outdoorsy with maybe a little more grit than you had anticipated.
Exactly,
Love it. All right, Dan. Well, before we let you go, head off to Ponderosa. You are playing for a very worthy cause, so go ahead and shout them out and let the viewers know who you're playing for.
I'm playing for the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, the JDRF. They fund research for type 1 diabetes. My 15-year-old is a type 1 diabetic, so it is a cause that's very important to us. So.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dan. And again, congratulations on making the jury. I'm going to hand you off to your handler, Barry, so you can head on down to Ponderosa.
Awesome. Thanks.
We will see you again at the next Tribal Council.
All right. Yep, I will.
All right, friends. I just flip the camera back around to myself so we can do a couple more moments of being together. All right, so we're going to go ahead for logistics. we're going to do a lunch break now, so it'll probably be about an hour before we're back live. Make sure you are also hydrated and nourished out there, and we will be back with action in about an hour or maybe an hour and a half if I had to guess, but sometime in that range. Also, can I just say, the Dan curse was alive and well at the last vote, and it is bold that the players chose to tempt fate, but apparently the Dan curse now broken. So, Kobe, I think you have it right. I think that absolutely put the target on his back. So, funny how that can go. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you in the next hour or hour and a half. And keep it locked here. We'll be bringing you action all day and night.